Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our second semifinals of the evening for the PSS5. I'm Michael Hoyp, and we have a special guest joining us in the booth. I'm Michael Hoyp, but I'm not going to be doing commentary for this semifinals. We have Flint Espil and none
Hey.
other than Michael Flores joining us. So say
What's
hello.
up, Hoyp?
All right.
Hello.
We have a match between Jared Doucette and Lanny Huang. I am going to go quiet, and I'll just kind of be behind the scenes. I'll hang out, but I'll let Flint and Flores take it away.
Dr. Espil, PhD.
Michael J. Hoyp, commentator extraordinaire.
What deck do you think Jared Doucette brought with him?
I don't know. If it were me, I'd probably play Replenish just to try to surprise Lanny, because I think that's the deck that Lanny doesn't think Jared's going to play, but Jared's probably going to play Old Reliable, the Goblins deck. What do you think?
Yeah, I have him on Goblins. So his options are the Rock, Goblins, and Replenish. I think he's least likely to play Replenish. I think that the prospect of playing a Replenish mirror match against Lanny's super high on Replenish, right? So prospect of him playing a Replenish mirror match can't be attractive, and he can't really play the Rock, right? Like Replenish auto wins against the Rock with 2/3 of its combo, right? So most of the time, Replenish has to assemble like 4/3 of its combo, and it still gives you 2 turns to win. It needs like 2/3 of its combo wins immediately against the Rock. So you just can't. It's a non-factor. He has to play Replenish or Goblins, and Jared is like undefeatable with Goblins. So I think that he's going to be on Goblins. Weird. Let me ask you a different question, Dr. Espil, PhD. Who do you have as favored Goblins for Replenish in the abstract?
Oh, Goblins, probably.
Yeah, so a lot of these Yahoos playing in the PSS, including Dr. Shea, seem to think that Replenish is favored. And Lanfeng Huang also thought Replenish was favored. And I showed him that was not correct.
Wait, is this?
In fact,
did you ask me this question? Did you ask me this question just so you could talk about how you beat Lanny?
So I mean, obviously, 4-0 feels like 8-0 when you 2-0 Lanny, though. But no, I was going to play a different deck in that event, but Lanny asked me to bring. We thought Jared was going to play Goblins, so he asked me to bring the Goblins deck just to play test between rounds. So I just played it, and now I'm a Goblins truther. Like I've got like a Goblins T-shirt, Goblins hat, Goblins branded shoes.
It's Goblins thermos.
I mean, yeah, sure. No. It's very rusty. The Goblins do not live in a very sanitary underground society. It's very moist. But yeah, the thermos is also Goblins branded.
Checks out.
What do you think about Lanfeng Huang? What do you think he's got?
I mean, it really just depends on how sure he is that Jared's really going to run with Goblins, right? I mean, if he's still high on the fact that Replenish can beat Goblins, then he's probably just going to run Replenish. But if he's really confident that Jared's gonna run Goblins, I think he might go the parfait route.
So, if you recall from Blabzercon last year, the thing that I love about the format so much is that going first doesn't matter, and that you and I both only went second for most of the tournament last year, and won all of our matches. Only lost to each other, right? So, that is not true when one of the players is Goblins and has a guaranteed 100% likelihood to play. That matters a lot in this particular matchup. A lot. So, I don't think I don't know what Lanny's going to play 100%. I think there's no way he's playing Replenish. I showed him the front of my hand and the back of my hand, and that out of love, like you do.
Yeah.
As a psychologist, you must know about that. But yeah, I think I beat the Replenish out of him, but we'll see. I would guess he's on Oath Parfait. That's my guess.
Yeah. That's why I think if you're Jared, you should play Replenish. But here, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how safe people decide to play this. All right. Okay. He's going with Old Reliable.
I mean, if you were Jared is the slam dunk first seed. It's not like he lost any games with his Goblins deck, right?
He crushed with it.
He crushed IB True with it. I mean, like, who beats IB True?
Rich Shea, apparently.
Oh, well,
Too soon.
That's a little
Too soon.
a little soon, Dr. Espil, PhD. Um,
So
okay.
let's maybe let's assume he's up against Parfait, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are the key cards here for Jared then?
2 natural eyes. And Goblin Tinker is actually pretty good. So main deck Goblin Tinker, it has haste conditionally alongside its buddy Goblin the War Chief. Can turn it on. So that guy can be a gobbler. As a goblin, he's a goblin gobbler of Mox Diamonds. Take out the odd scroll rack. He's pretty good at that. But really, it's just natural eyes. If this is a Parfait versus Goblins game, it's like quasi-academic in game 1, depending on how many natural eyes Jared draws. Like Lanny can just catch Jared in a situation where he has goblins that can't sacrifice themselves, i.e., Jared only has 2 copies of Skirk Prospector in his deck, so he just has goblins. You just like land an oath and then immediately lock up the game. That's a problem. That is far less of a problem if Jared actually has a slow start, right? So if Jared's playing super slowly, Lanny never gets oath going, then Jared can actually just craft sort of an inevitable position where he attacks for lethal in a single turn. That possibility is mitigated by the fact that Lanny can blow up all of the lands, as we saw Dr. Shea PhD do repeatedly last round. So blowing up all the lands is pretty good when your opponent needs to take a single big turn.
All right, let's see what Lanny's on. All right, so both players playing it safe here.
Do you think that's safe? None of Lanny's decks are safe. I think that Lanny has actually already accomplished the greatest feat in the history of the PSS. He made it to the top 4 with no real decks. Like, one of his decks is Groatog. Like, there's like 0 real decks. He's just like, I'm gonna take a replenish deck, take out all of the good cards, and add Mox Diamond. The intuition strategy that I've got in front of me is bolstered by 2 Seal of Cleansing and 2 Swords to Plowshares. So I can't get my key card in any matchup.
What's interesting here too is that, like, he had Groatog, but didn't he win with it when he played it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the greatest accomplishment in the history of the PSS, Flint. If he, it's like he's got, people talk about having one hand tied behind their back. He had like a 1-2 tied behind his back. It's, conditionally big enough to fight a Dreadnought. Usually not, though.
I would argue that his other 2 decks are pretty strong, though. And I really like the Mox Diamonds in the Replenish deck for what it's worth.
He loves Mox Diamond. He had like a Mox Diamond themed suite of decks.
He definitely did. PSS 6, no Mox Diamonds.
He really likes Mox. We were talking about, like, we have this big 1.5K coming up in a couple of weeks in New York. I was talking to somebody, just like, are you guys all going to play Replenish? And I'm like, that's not even possible. We don't have enough cards.
Yeah.
Lanny's Replenish deck is just my Replenish deck.
Exactly.
So we can't all play Replenish. We have to choose something else.
So given that we do have another land tax match incoming, and those can go long, we probably should get to the matches soon. But really quickly before we do, how do you expect these first 2 non-sideboarded games to play out?
I actually think they're going to go pretty quick. I think that some pretty good. Either the games are going to go super slow because Jared is playing slow, or Lanny will lock up the games really quickly and Jared will concede, rather than burn his mental energy trying to win like completely untenable games. I think that the games get way better for Jared in the sideboarded games. We easily see a situation like we saw last match where Lanny quickly wins the first 2, and then he's just up against Jared's sideboard is really formidable in the matchup, like extremely formidable. Whereas Lanny's just like literally siding in an innocent blood and like his choice of almost uncastable red sorceries just to get cards like Ray of Revelation out of his deck that have no text. All right. So,
well, I'm going to let them know that they can get started. So, Hoyp, if you want to take us down to the match, let's see how it goes. Hello, Lackey.
Yeah. So I think Lanny kept a hand that has swords to plowshares.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
my
bet he did.
guess.
If
he
he's
kept
all, if
7,
he's, yeah,
there says swords to plowshares in that hand.
if he's all in on this deck, he's all in on keeping a swords hand for sure.
There you go. I should pick stocks. I can see the future. All right, so this is going to be on. So Swords of Plowshares takes out Goblin Lackey. I think that we're going to see a situation where Jared probably like puts up some so those are really good goblins. I actually want to point out because they can blow themselves up.
Yep.
I was once instructed by a player by the name of Flint Espil, PhD, that one of the reasons that Goblin Patrol was so good in a mono red deck was in the case that your opponent plays an unsuspected
Look,
Oath of Druids.
it's an
You
extra
could just
jackal
not
pup with
you
an interesting upside.
you could just not pay the echo. Right? It's like, oh, no problem. An Oath of Druids, just
Easy
don't pay the
peasy.
echo.
Easy peasy.
All right. Is that a sharpshooter?
That indeed is a sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter has been described to me recently as, quote, a better goblin pile driver by Brian Kowal. It has the secret text of being able to untap and shoot. It's very, very secret. It's on the text box. So a veritable goblin pile driver here.
BBK
can also
being the only person who reads cards.
Yeah. So notably, this is a goblin that could kill itself. All right. What do we got here? Lanny, Mox Diamond, fan number 1, deploys a Mox Diamond, Oath of Druids. And so here's this great spot. What's going to end up happening, I think, is Jared will attack for 2, shoot Lanny with the sharpshooter, and then a sequence will go off where the Mog Fanatics do 2 damage each effectively because of the sharpshooter's untap. At which point the game will slow to a crawl because Jared will do nothing. If Lanny has Burning Wish, he's just going to close the game out immediately. And I think Jared should just concede. If he doesn't have Burning Wish, the game will take like half an hour and Jared will eventually lose. And the problem is Jared can only kind of like try to make this accumulation play where he just literally puts together, it's not that hard actually. You're just like a single war chief and four pile drivers will do it. It just takes a second to put that together. If all his lands get blown up, then that's not going to be something that actually occurs. So Lanny gathers some basic lands. He's got like a veritable Benetton ad of basic lands here, right? So mountain, forest, swamp, triple plains. Of course, there's a lot of plains.
Obviously, got to cast those land taxes, boys and girls.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen.
Big fan of Jared's mountains choice.
Oh yeah, same. Those are gorgeous.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, the first 2 games I think are going to be very academic. There's almost nothing Jared can actually do at this point, right? Even if he has a naturalize, what are you going to naturalize?
Wait, so is that a gold bordered scroll rack on Lanny's
It is.
part?
I took my scroll racks back after Lobster. So he took the deck pick. So here's my deck pick of my winning deck, and I'm like, gimme. So yes, those are the scroll racks that Lanny owns.
Because he was just talking on your pod about how he has your ancient tombs because he doesn't want to use gold border ones, or what was it? What was the card you guys were talking about? He was City of Traders. That's what it was.
There's no gold bordered City of Traders, Hoyp.
Yeah, there are.
Oh, there are?
Yeah. I have
From where?
I don't remember which world championship the deck they're in, but I have a ton of them.
Oh, must be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I bought mine for like $3.50. I wish I bought a 4th. Luckily, all the decks only play 3. I priced some Mox Diamond today.
Oh.
Yeah. I bought some new printing old bordered explorations this week. I couldn't find any explorations. I was just like,
The old ones are not cheap.
Yeah, like in the new one, like so new printing old border that was like only like $11.
That's not
Like the
bad.
same. Yeah, but I mean, should I don't know, man. It's hard. It's really hard to think about, right? Like on the other hand, I'm plotting out like the expeditions of wooded foothills to play in my stupid goblins deck that has so many weird printings that I don't know which card is which. So many Oath of Druids. I think this game is like basically a lockout, right? Like Lanny's drawn so many extra lands from land tax at this point. There's like nothing really Jared can do to counteract that card advantage. And there are just as many Oath of Druids in play as there are naturalizes in Jared's deck. So it's just really just a race to Burning Wish, I think. So Lanny's just gonna Devastating Dreams the battlefield, and then I don't know.
But like Devastating Dreams, then Zer's Weirding.
No, he doesn't have to do anything. He just blows up all the lands. Like goes to 0 lands and then just has a Mox in play, right? Like if that's his entire sequence, what does Jared do? Right? Like he can't play. He's just gonna lose to, and there's 3. I think Jared should pack it in. This game is completely untenable.
Yeah, I agree.
So like Jared has an incredibly good chance of winning every sideboarded game, and he's now currently using his mental faculties to the limited mental faculties that we all share to not win this game. So Devastating Dreams is what is it? RR for blow up all the stuff.
Hoyp's got it on the card fetcher.
Yeah, so notably, Lanny has 2 Undiscovered Paradise and 3 Mock Simons in play, which gives him more than enough access to red pips in order to cast Devastating Dreams. He's obviously got a grip full of lands from land tax. Yeah, and I think
there it is.
Jared's read the writing on the wall. So my expectation is both of the first 2 games are going to go about like that. But that the sideboarded games are going to be I don't know if they're like in favor of Jared, but he has a lot of tools, right? So he's got Tranquil Domain as well as additional copies of Naturalized to bring in. I would guess Jared brings in Tormod's Crypt, but I don't think Tormod's Crypt is very good personally. Hull Breach is probably pretty good though.
Yeah, 2 Naturalized, 2 Hull Breach, 2 Tranquil Domain. Yeah.
So yeah, the problem is in order to accommodate all of that artifact and enchantment removal, Jared will have to reduce the density of his Goblins engine. So I mean, among other things, it makes Lackey less dangerous, right? It makes Pile Driver less big on offense. But
Ringleader doesn't hit as often either.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Goblins is, I think, about the only deck in the format that has such good sideboard cards. The sideboard cards are very good, but generally actually weakens the equity of its own deck in the process of sideboarding. Like it just literally is chopping off a finger in order to.
What if? So hear me out. And this is probably just crazy, but what if he just boards out all 4 of his wastelands and goes to 20 lands? Is that crazy?
I don't think that's a very good idea, right? Like he needs so Goblins is also an extraordinarily mana hungry deck. If somebody, I don't know, like a really terrible person, like a mean person who lives in Queens, New York, Swords to Plowshares your Goblin Lackey, how do you propose to cast these clunky 4 and 5 casting cost goblins in your deck, having taken out 4 of your land?
You got to pray to the variance gods.
We call him the dealer in my household.
Oh yes, the dealer.
So, but yeah, so like, if the dealer's got, first of all, I have never met someone who the dealer had more than Jared Doucette. That guy only turns over 4 goblins with his goblin ringleader. He's done it so many times in front of me. It's unreal. Like, do you start off with a scroll rack? Is it some sort of invisible scroll rack from Lorien? Did Galadriel tap it when we weren't looking in order to accommodate the number of goblins you wanted to have on top of your library when you were resolving the trigger on this forecasting cost due to? He has haste, by the way. Okay.
That's what I've heard.
If Lanny kept 7, that Goblin Lackey's dead. That's all I know. Oh, Lanny is mulliganing. Looks like he could not have dealt with the first turn Goblin Lackey. Okay. Did Jared keep?
Yeah, it looks like he kept.
While they're shuffling, I'm gonna read the chat. Rich Shea says, "No real decks," says the man who brought Gaia's Stasis. Yeah, it takes one to know one. Takes one to know one. He's one of my best friends. That I rubbed off on him. Let's see. Good guy goblins. Wow, that's some harsh talk. Can't disagree with dirty Joe Kearney. Let's see. So Kevin Costnerino said Lanny just had it all again. That's just how this pre-sideboard games go. Like every single permanent in Lanny's deck is basically I don't know, an Uru Warhammer flying through the side of a Frost Giant. Like every single permanent, right? So, and then there's only 2 naturalized to interact with them. Like every single card that Lanny casts basically says draw 3 cards. Let's see here.
All right, so it looks like Lanny's going to keep the 6.
Rich argues that Lanny has to spend more mental resources than Jared. I don't think so. Lanny was just gonna. All he's doing is digging for Burning Wish. Just nothing else matters. Yep.
Look at this academic start.
We played a game where Lanny kept a hand on the draw that was very good, but couldn't kill a Goblin Lackey, and he died on the 3rd turn. So I think
lesson learned.
Never going to do that again. Right? So yeah, what happened? I think like I deployed a Goblin War Chief on like my first attack, and then just cast a bunch of pile drivers. It was awesome. Because if you can't kill the Goblin Lackey, you're sure not killing all these pile drivers.
Nope.
Okay.
An oath here?
I don't know. Like he might have an Enlightened Tutor. He might also just be like leaving mana open to kill a War Chief, right? So Jared is breaking. We're going to learn a lot about his hand based on if he gets a forest or a mountain here. Usually people who get a forest are rich. They're just like, yep, he's rich. He's just a rich person. Despite his choice of forest, like the contrast between the mountain in play and the forest in play is actually, it's really weird. That's like the difference between somebody who has tickets to the Eras Tour and somebody who doesn't have tickets to the Eras Tour. Lanfeng Huang has 4 tickets to the Eras Tour, by the way. But Jared is giving us a tell that he's rich by getting a forest, and yet the forest he has is in stark contrast to the mountains. Yeah, that's why I figured he was going to cast, and that Lanny was have a counterplay on that. That's another card that's not very good. Lanny has like a lot of cards in his main deck that are not very good that he's going to want to try to get out. Oh man, is that card not very good?
Duress. Wow.
But he gains the valuable information of Matron Siege Gang Commander. We're probably going to see like. This is interesting. If Jared goes Matron for anything, right, he's potentially falling prey to Enlightened Tutor Oath, and he knows that. Lanny obviously has a land, and he's sandbagging here. Yeah. What do you get here? Recruiter or second Siege Gang Commander? Oh, is that he just cast an Incinerator?
Yeah, I just cast an Incinerator.
I thought that was a Matron.
Yeah,
wow.
I did too.
Wow, that's sad.
I was just reading the chat.
I'm reading the chat. People are arguing about
people didn't know what the Eras Tour was.
What? It's like This is how great Taylor Swift / the Eras Tour is. The level of great it is unbelievable. She's already 2x sold the number of pre-sale tickets to the movie version of the Eras Tour that have ever been sold for pre-sale of a movie. And so like it's just like tape of a thing that she already did. Right? Here's the other thing that's crazy. She gets 57% of the gross of ticket sales. 57% of the gross. AMC gets 43% of the net. They have to pay the theaters. How insane is that?
That's bonkers.
Way more bonkers than what Lanny just deployed with his Oath of Druids. That's not the one you want in the Goblins matchup. So he's going to get, I don't know, 15 life or so here.
Yeah.
Bend his Zuran Orb. He's going to get a land drop, which is the thing that he wanted. That's pretty good. I don't think Jared has sufficient mana to get rid of all the rest of his goblins. So he's going to hit for like 7 maybe. And then Lanny's going to get Shard Phoenix and the game's probably going to get locked up. I think that's what's going to happen. But yeah, so Lanny will probably end the next turn at 21 life is my guess.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Jared here.
To answer Dr. Shea, PhD, I haven't been to every rock concert of all time. It's kind of incontrovertible that it's the most successful concert tour of all time. She's personally going to put $1 billion in her pocket, which is unbelievable. They sell $21 million of merch every night. That's just the merch sales. Every night of the Eras Tour. There's just never been anything like it. The level of cultural phenomenon this is basically impossible to exaggerate. Well, let's see here.
So let's see. Lanny just passing.
Wait, so what happened here? So he revealed a gemstone mine and then just played a plains. Weird. That means he had the plains, right? Because the gemstone mine was just drawn this turn. Let's see here. Who do you block Siege Gang Commander, right?
That's what I would block, yeah. Here comes Shard Phoenix.
Yeah, so bad times for Jared. Trigger. And
double trigger.
There we go.
Ooh,
that is a hideous Shard Phoenix. Oh my god.
How could you let him play that?
No wonder he can afford Eras Tour tickets. With a Shard Phoenix like that? Wait, what's he doing? Where does the Shard Phoenix go?
The Shard Phoenix doesn't get shuffled in, does it?
What is he doing? Isn't he supposed to put it in play?
With what Gaze Blasting triggers on the stack, what he just sacked his Shard Phoenix to put it in the
to shuffle it back into the library?
Yeah, that's what he did.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
That's cute. He presumably drew a card. What do we got here?
Oh,
the one of.
Oh my god.
Dr. Shea, PhD, he's learning from you. Like
that is brutal.
It's fine. It's actually not that brutal given the fact that there's already an Oath of Druids in play. Like Jared can't do anything. Right? Like I guess it makes it so Jared has to draw a Naturalize the turn before he tries to go off. Because otherwise he could just go off with any size goblins and they're all just generating triggers with Pile Driver.
So now Jared's just trying to build up his lands to do what we talked about earlier, right? To try to do the War Chief sequence.
I mean, Lanny's just waiting to draw a land tax, right? Like that's.
Yeah. Well, Jared needs Naturalize and then the War Chief sequence.
Let's see here. Oh, it depends on how many cards he has in hand. Also, if Lanny has a Swords to Plowshares, he could potentially just break the War Chief sequence. That's incredibly dangerous. So with 2 Oath of Druids in play, Jared almost has to wait until he has 2 War Chiefs to try to go off. And like that's asking a lot, right? In most cases, you could have like a single War Chief and then go off, but like this is not that good. Like this is like just pretty good. Lanny doesn't have enough resources to blow up all of Jared's stuff. Unless does he have an Armageddon? You just get
he just could be just Burning Wish, so he could grab an Armageddon here if he wants.
But like without a land tax, it's just not that good. Also, he can't cast the Armageddon next turn unless he gets one of his favorite Mox diamonds.
Yeah, interesting. What's he going to grab? Deep Analysis?
Oh, man. It's oh, people are making poor Taylor Swift puns in the chat.
Oh, I saw BK's. Yeah, he grabbed Armageddon, and then he was running out of Zernorb, so he just needs the tax.
So, I mean, he could just do a Richet and just, like, blow it up and just hope for the best. It works out real good for Rich. And he'd also, like, be pretty advantaged, right? So he's going to gain 8 life, presumably, off of that play, and destroy 3 to 4 of his own lands versus like 6 or 7 of Jared's lands. It's pretty good. Okay. Is he gonna duress? This be so bad. All right, talk to me about siding out Wasteland. That seemed good given the fact that part of the opponent's strategy who can play a limitless number. Yep, there it is. Mox is good enough, right? So he's gained 6. Then it's 3 for 7. I think is Jared just going to sideboards?
Yeah, he's scooping.
Yeah. Okay. So right. That's about how I thought the first 2 games are going to go. The sideboarded games are going to be way different. So I think Jared can still try to play for like BK calls it Goblin's Gear 1, which is just you have a lackey, right? And if that goes according to plan, you don't really lose. But I think that he's very likely to play a suppression game. His relevant cards to come in are 2 Tranquil Domains, 2 Naturalized, 2 Hull Breach for sure, all going to come in. I personally would not bring in Tormod's Crypt. I'm not a big fan of cards that don't impact the battlefield. That card's basically... So, like, that's a card that you have in Goblins if you don't understand how the Oath deck works. So I watched, like, a lot of Lanny's matches at LobsterCon, and people were trying to, like, beat Ancestors Chosen and Guy's Blessing with Tormod's Crypt. They were just losing to a Chroma. So, for sure, Lanny's going to side in a Chroma. He'll probably have 3 creatures in his deck. And so a lot of these games actually come to a Chroma hardcast. But like if you side in Tormod's Crypt, you just lose to a Chroma. Like that's just the way it goes. I don't know if Jared knows that strategy or not. But I'm a big buyer of 6 green cards coming in. I would probably take out Sharpshooter, Tinkerer, Mog Fanatic is good because it can counteract your own goblin count against Oath, but you need to take out goblins that are not that impactful damage wise. Yeah, Sharpshooter does not seem impressive to me.
No, I think he takes out the Sharpshooter for sure.
And then Incinerator, that's 4. And then maybe 2 Mog Fanatics.
2 Wastelands.
I don't think he takes us out Wasteland. Dr. Espil PhD.
All right, let's look at Lanny's list real quick. Wait, if you want to pull it
up. This could easily go 3 games to Jared. But I think that the first games were just super in Lanny's favor.
Yeah,
Uh,
agreed.
Lanny's sideboard situation is disastrous. Jared literally goes from a deck that almost can never win game one, which is what we saw in the first 2 games, to a deck that is an incredibly robust suite of removal. Whereas Lanny is literally just bringing in garbage that is slightly better than the garbage that he's stuck with, right? So he has a ton of cards in his deck that just literally have no text, right? Like Ray of Revelation, Tormod's Crypt. Like those cards are just bad.
Duress is still somewhat
Well,
playable,
Dress
right?
becomes good in the sideboard
Yeah.
games. It doesn't
Yeah,
start out good.
Yeah, way better now.
Mana Leak is pretty bad. Annul has no text though. So Annul, Ray of Revelation, Tormod's Crypt are all really bad. I don't know if I'm a big buyer on Duress, but it does have text and sideboard. I think I would take out Mana Leak. So he's probably going to bring in Innocent Blood, Achroma, and then he's going to either bring in Pyroclasm or Devastating Dreams and then leave the other one in the sideboard. I think I like leaving Pyroclasm in the sideboard.
Same.
That way you can basically play like you have 4 Pyroclasms and those only require 1 red pip. It also allows him to always be able to Burning Wish for a land destruction card. So if he has the Devastating Dreams in his deck and the Armageddon and the Pyroclasm in his sideboard, I think that's a pretty good spread. But like the amount of it is again difficult to describe how much better Jared's deck gets after sideboarding. Like literally goes from almost no equity to a ton of equity, and Lanny's cards are pretty bad, right? Like Innocent Blood is just it's black, right? He has like 1 swamp in his deck.
Yeah.
Like I have an Innocent Blood. The one thing that I really don't understand is why does he have? Is that Last Rites? Is that the name of that black 2 card?
Yep.
It's terrible. Like he never cited it in the entire PSS. I don't know why you would ever have that card. And he doesn't have so much as a single second Engineered Plague. Like I was like making fun of him the other day. I'm like, wouldn't you rather just have like 4 Engineered Plagues like everybody else? Instead, you have Last Rites. How many times did you cast that one? And he's just like, oh, well, what if I was playing against a combo deck? I'm like, you're playing in the PSS. You know if you're to play against a combo deck or not. You just don't choose Parfait that week. Too much truthing, you know what I'm saying? Spontaneous Generation also seems terrible to me. This deck could be, it's not that it matters that this deck could be improved, it's banned now.
Oh, yeah, let's jump down. Let's jump down. All right, so we got Wooded Foothills Go from Jared, and then an Ivory Tower from Lanny.
Flint, are you going to feel bad? Feel bad, like morally as a person, if both of the decks that, both of the players rather, who have banned land tax decks go to the finals by beating their top 4 opponents with their land tax decks?
Not at all.
No, you were just doing your job, right? Like that was
That's
just
right.
a call.
That's right. Yeah, it's funny. You know, I know that you had talked on your pod about like, you know, resubmitting deck lists and kind of the decision to do that or not. But ultimately, I think the one piece that a lot of folks didn't consider is just time. So we really needed to get a lot of the PSS done in the summer before school started up, volleyball, you know, started up, Hoyp's coaching this year and everything. And we just get a lot more busy. And so we just didn't have time to have everybody rethink their entire deck lists again, push the PSS back, and then make it happen. So this is the swan song.
I thoroughly agree with you. I think, I mean, everybody else submitted their decks knowing that land tax was a legal card. And
Correct.
And like they could have all picked land tax decks, and they chose instead to err on the side of the viewers and humanity as a whole. So I guess this is just a good example of bad actors / free riders, you know, taking advantage of the system. But, you know, why should it be different than any other aspect of society? As you can see, like Jared's deck has a ton of resistance in sideboarding games. That Wasteland that you wanted to side out was actually pretty good. He naturalized Oath of Druids. He's now swinging for, I believe, 5. I think Lanny probably should have like an Enlightened Tutor here. Yep. So Enlightened Tutor might save him. That Ivory Tower is actually pretty helpful. Yeah. So
stem the bleeding a little bit.
Yeah, he'll get Oath in play. If Jared has another naturalize, this game's probably over. Like the Wastelands were really good. A big thing that's been a kind of minor point of debate in the believe Jared referred to it as the Goblin Warren, was Rishanon Port versus Wasteland. And I always just kind of assumed Rishanon Port was right because I mostly was playing Hoip's deck that he won the monthly with a few months ago. But I mean, I cannot say enough about how impressed I've been with Wasteland. It's just seemed awesome to me. Yeah. Like, okay. We have an oath. Do we have a second naturalize? We do not. But this might, if this gets like a pile driver, for example, that is quite a bit of damage. I don't know.
Yeah,
it depends. There's another
6,
like
12. Yeah, Lanny's just dead.
No, I'm sure he just has like a.
Maybe he doesn't have
swords.
swords.
He has the swords for the war chief, which will strand the other 2 goblins. I think. I mean, if he doesn't, he's dead. But he hasn't cast the swords yet this game, right?
Yeah, and
he kept his hand, so it means he has the swords.
Yeah.
So, I think he's just gonna like let that happen, and then let him go to combat, and then kill the war chief, and then just start the oath parade. I actually think that was a minor mistake on Jared's part. In this situation, you should probably get a second war chief, not a goblin pile driver. The likelihood that you're going to be able to get to attacks is pretty low. So that preserves the equity of your existing pile driver. So there's just no way Lanny doesn't have a swords.
There's no way.
So
you just lose those games. You just lose those games that you don't have a swords. We were talking about this. Whip and I were talking about this when Rich was playing goblins, and Rich kept that wild hand with no land, like with 1 land, I think, and he had Goblin Lackey and was hoping that it was going to go the distance. And we're just like, no, there's no way that the opposing player keeps a hand without.
It's like I'm telling you, we tested last week, and Lanny kept a hand that didn't have his swords, and I just killed him on the 3rd turn. There's just no way. He's just like, oh, this 7 seems good enough. Although he had an oath, maybe. Oh, see, Lanny. Oh, yeah, very nice.
Smart.
Oh, see, the sideboard changed a lot. Yeah. Does Lanny have another Enlightened Tutor? No, he's in trouble now.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble now.
So I think he also went low enough on hand size that he didn't get any Ivory Tower life points.
Nope.
So I take back saying that Jared made a mistake. I didn't realize he wasn't actually going to deploy the goblin that he cast. Instead, he was just going to annihilate Lanny with one of his awesome green sideboard cards. And I think Lanny's doing the math here to see if he can survive if Jared has another. Because I think if Jared has a second war chief, swords won't save him. Right? Like there's 2 pile drivers. Each pile driver will be worth north of 5 damage, right? He's at 8, so Burning Wish for Pyroclasm. No. Oof. that is not good enough.
Not what he wants.
That's not good enough. If he had a Mox, I think it'd be okay. Then he could win on 2 swords. I mean, just he could stick around on 2 swords. But what is he looking for? A Mox?
He put both his cards down?
I mean, he's just in trouble.
But he's not done. I mean, if he swords the ward chief, he's only going to take 4.
Well, yeah, but I think it just depends, right? Like, I think the way Jared played, he might just have 2 war chiefs. That.
Yeah. All right.
Lanny will get to go first, finally.
Indeed.
But this is about how I thought the match was going to go. First 2 games just be super easy for Lanny. and then Jared was just going to show him his sideboard cards. As you could see, Lanny's sideboard was basically non-existent.
Yeah, I don't think we saw any sideboarded cards there, did we?
They're just not good, right? Like he's literally like, here's an Innocent Blood. And like an Innocent Blood is a terrible Swords to Plowshares that you can only cast with like 5 mana sources in your deck. That's probably 9. Actually has Gemstone Mine, Undiscovered Paradise, Mox, and Swamp, right? Okay.
Yep.
He can cast a lot of Prisoner and Innocent Blood. It's actually almost 14 sources.
Yeah, let's see. 4, 8, 9.
The 13
11,
sources, something like that.
10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so he's got enough black sources to cast.
Play it on turn 1, yeah.
Yeah, he's got 13.
Relatively consistent.
That's what he needs. Yeah.
But yeah, so this will be Lanny's first game on the play. I think that being on the play, he'll be more likely to keep a hand that doesn't have Swords to Plowshares. But hey, we have a 5th Swords to Plowshares now, so who knows? I mean, that was a brutal game, right? Like Jared sliced through multiple copies of Oath of Druids like they weren't there.
Oh yeah, 2 for 2.
I mean, I'm sure he still has Ringleader, but like you said, his Ringleader is just going to be way less good. So because he's Jared Doucette, he might only draw 3. I mean, probably not, but he might. It's possible.
Only 3, folks. You heard it here.
If you've ever seen Jared Doucette cast a Ringleader, you'd be like, 3, sign me up. How fast can I grab 3?
Have you ever flipped 4 lands?
No.
Ooh.
I've never missed completely.
It's
I've
rough.
always gotten at least like a 1/1.
It's real rough.
But I have probably played less goblins than you guys, right? Like that's just a.
I've only played it in one tournament. I played it in the West Coast tournament out here last year.
Yeah, you made the top 8 of the West Coast regional West Coast Regional Championship. Is that the name of the tournament?
I think that's what they called it.
It just made it up, and they're just like, oh, we're the West Coast Regional Championship.
That's right.
I mean that allowed various yahoos in the pre-modern community to just declare things like the Midwest Regional Championship.
Oh, don't even get me started on those guys.
Like, oh, we're all just going to have our own regional championship. Yeah, the local store where I play is just going to declare we have the Northeast Regional Championship next month. That'll happen now because of people like you supporting people like them.
All right. So Jared taking a mulligan here?
I wish I could tell you, but my screensaver came on, and I just had to shake my mouse to came back up.
It's an action-packed tournament here.
I'm not like tick.
Michael J. Flores' screensaver's up.
So I couldn't tell you. It's not that I wasn't paying attention. It said it was literally black for a moment.
I think Doucette's going to 5 here.
Uh-oh. If only he had a bunch of cards in his deck that said draw 4 cards.
If only.
Flint, have you been playing much recently? The format's changed a lot.
I haven't been playing as much. No, I actually just like pulled out my gauntlet of like 50 pre-modern decks, dusted it off, and I'm starting to go through and update them based on the changes in the format because I want to start playing a little bit more as we move into the cooler weather months. I've just been outside a lot this summer.
Oh yeah, I bought a bunch of random green cards this week. I bought like Battlefield Scroungers and Explorations and Horn of Greed. I almost had to buy Thermokarst, but I found Thermokarst in a rare binder. I don't know how I got there.
Are you
in Ice Age?
Are you doing the Sam Black deck, or are you trying the one that Iñaki just posted, or what are you?
No, Hoyp actually gave me a blue green Turbolands deck. So Zvi Moshowitz is getting into it, and he asked to borrow a deck, and I said I'd make him any deck.
Is he really?
Yeah, and he said he wanted to play Turbolands. So
his Hermit deck is what inspired mine.
Yeah, well, he wants to play Turbolands. It's his favorite deck. I told him his first Pro Tour top 8 was with Fluctuator. I said, "Hey, there's a pretty good Fluctuator deck," and he said, "Well, that deck doesn't seem like it was very decision intensive, so he didn't want to play it." So he made a list of decks he wouldn't play. He's like, "I don't want to play pure aggro." He says, "I won't play the Rock." I mean, like, I'm listening for Hoyp groaning. So I will not play the rock. I want to play pure aggro. I'll play basically anything else. All right, land text, first turn.
All right.
Can't do much better than that. Mountain Lackey. You can try. You can try. What do we got here, Lanny? Lanny could have kept a loose one just because he had a first turn. Land text.
I don't think that's his style.
Lanny got annihilated in the round robin on a play like this. Do you remember when he just blew up his own land in order to tax against Tom Metelsky, and then Tom punished him for it? I don't think Jared's deck is capable of such a punish, but he's certainly capable of blowing up a land tax.
We just got to naturalize
which
or
I
something
think
here.
is what's going to... Oh, Tinkerer. Pretty good. Yeah, I think that
Wow.
it's a pretty severe misplay. Don't like that play.
You think he fired that off too quickly?
I mean, Tinker is simply not dangerous right now. I think if it were me, would have gone to upkeep and blown up my own Windswept Heath, drawn 3 cards, then decided what I was going to do. Like, he could have guaranteed like at least a +1 exchange, right? Like if you're like, all right, -1 for the land tax, -1 for the Windswept Heath, draw 3 back. Like he could have guaranteed that. He is now in a situation where he might not get a single activation off the land tax. And the Tinker is
in hand.
No, I think that the land tax should just go away. And I think a Tinkerer is not dangerous. It could be dangerous later, but there's like no Moxes or Skull Racks in play.
Yeah, it did feel a little preemptive.
Yeah, like now he's just doing nothing. Like that's like increasingly dangerous because Jared's sideboard is so good.
Well, Jared can lay down some pressure now. Oh no, don't play a third land, Jared. What are you doing? Just play some pressure. Don't play a third land. Just play a goblin.
Okay. What's going on? Oh, there. So Jared should be +2 -1. Yeah, 21. Lanny's should be -1 19. Yep, that's right. Jared just played a land and no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. That is not. I don't think that's correct.
I do not like that at all.
You just wait.
Lanny notably did not get a green land.
Interesting. Yeah, no oath. But he did get a swamp.
He might just be taking cards out of his deck that he doesn't want to draw. Who knows? He's a wild man.
Yeah, this has been a weird couple of turns.
Oh, people are now fighting over who should have the title of the West Coast Championship. Dr. Shea PhD, what do you not like very much? My commentary, my jokes, or the play in play? I would like to understand so that I will react. You're clearly much smarter than I am. What is
probably the play, the par
play. I actually dislike the play on both sides. I gotta tell you.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, the third land is bad with no pressure. The firing off the swords preemptively is probably not the correct line either. Yeah.
Like, I mean, oh my God. Like a rack is just bad here. Is he just going to play a rack?
Oh, man.
There it is. Yeah,
Whole breach.
It's just bad. Oh, man. Like,
it's funny because even if he has whole breach, Lanny still gets 3 cards, right?
Look, wait, is that a hull breach?
It is a whole breach, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it's just not good.
No. The card advantage still favors Lanny.
Yeah, but he just didn't have to do it, right? Like, the problem is, I guess Lanny's infinite given sufficient time, and Jared is finite, right? But like, time is not infinite because Jared might kill you, right? That's the problem. I don't know. I mean, maybe Lanny's just sandbagging an extra copy of everything, in which case it just undoes whatever Jared just did. But like, also the fourth land, like, why would you play the fourth land, Flint? Like, do you have is that just saying I have another naturalize? I don't care what you do. What is Jared reading his card? That card was printed in 2001. You've had 22 years to read it.
Invasion.
And you put it in your deck. I thought that card was really interesting, that it was going to change how Standard was played, because for a long time, people were like very diverse in how they built their red-green decks, right? So Brian Kibler played the Red Zone, which included cards like Armageddon. Different players played Dark Fires, or like Fire Splashing for white, for, you know, Thornscape Battle Mage, or black for, I don't know, Slay or something. But then I thought that the fact that that card existed was going to make everybody just play straight red green. That was not true. In fact, a lot of people just played like 4 colors in their fire decks as a result. So Lanny, is that an upkeep Enlightened Tutor?
Yeah.
Man, oh my god, I think Jared might just blow him out here. Right. So I guess if you're just going to leave your Enlightened Tutors in, this is just what you're signing up for.
Well, he also probably had 3 lands on top of his deck, right?
You just want to shuffle away. So, like,
Yeah.
All right. So Jared doesn't have it. I mean, if he had another green removal spell, he would have clearly just cast it there. And I think he's deciding he's going to go for the throat here.
He's going for a 5th land.
Yeah, there's only one reason you would do that, right?
Yep.
Pop a Siege Gang.
That's the one.
I don't like those goblin tokens. I prefer to use Mike Flores tokens for any 1/1 creature or any 2/2 creature. I have 2 different kinds of Mike Flores tokens from my stints at Star City Games and TCG Player, respectively. So those would be Star City Games Mike Flores tokens if I were playing the Goblins deck. So Jared, next time I see you, if you need some better tokens for your Goblins deck, I'm always carrying a lot of them. I would, in fact, be happy to sign them for you.
I have Olorade tokens that I use.
I mean, that's fine. It is inferior, but it's still fine. Okay, another Enlightened Tutor. So he's basically just breaking even on his cards here. Oh! That's a good one. That's a good one. Gotta say. He's going to take almost no damage from the Siege Gang Commander tokens, right? Look, I guess he's going to take no damage from the tokens and 1 damage from the Siege Gang Commander next turn. So equivalent to the amount of damage that Jared did to himself for casting the Siege Gang Commander.
He can comfortably play another
play.
land too.
Do you play Forest there to preserve a swamp in hand?
I think since the gemstone is running low, he eventually wants to have some green mana anyway.
Yeah, but it's like he just searched for a swamp, so it's a known card in his hand. I would have just used it, right? Rather than telling Jared basically another card in hand. What do we have here?
War Chief Pile Driver.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. So that's 2 for 5, 6 damage.
7, no? Oh no, yeah. The Pile Driver's base 0.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's a 2-turn clock. 1, 2, 3. That's real close. Another Goblin makes it lethal next turn, right? With the Siege Gang Commander.
Yeah.
Lanny's going to get to draw an extra 3 cards here. I gotta say, Jared is putting up a princely fight.
He does that with goblins.
Yeah, like
he's scrappy.
Like Lanny's drawn so many extra cards. Like the last 2 turns, he drew 3 extra lands from the land tax, and then he got 3 cardlets, like little non-Mike Flores tokens that he got with the Engineered Plague, and Jared's putting them on a 2-turn clock here. It's really, really nice. Tranquil Domain would be awesome, obviously. What's Lanny thinking about? He's all of his mana's tapped.
I don't know.
Will he get? Those are also gold bordered enlightened tutors. Wow, he really must have eras toward it.
Just one.
Let's see here. Burning Wish would be really good. Burning Wish for Pyroclasm. That would be that's not
he needs a second red source for it, but I'm sure he probably has something in his hand.
Land tax that he's activating on upkeep.
But he just got a plains is all.
Yeah, then he must have another one, right? But I mean, must is a strong word. That's the play I would like to go for if I were him. Burning Wish for Pyroclasm. Innocent Blood? Duress.
Ooh.
Oh. Ooh, not good. Not good, Lanny. Woo. That's actually just a 5 casting cost 1/1, right?
Yeah.
It is, however, lethal. It's a 4 casting cost 1/1.
Yeah.
I guess just lethal over 2 turns. It's not anything in special right here. Oath.
Okay.
2 oaths. So Lanny's basically saying, "Kill me or I'll kill you," right?
Yep.
So yeah, Jared needs like any cheap goblin, basically.
Pile driver. He's just gonna rip a
pile driver is the best.
You know?
Any cheap goblin will do it.
Oh no, he didn't slam it. That's not good.
No, but what if it's a tranquil domain?
Oh, it's matron. He's gonna get pile driver.
That's good enough.
That's game. That's game. Lanny's dead. Yep.
Dealer had him. Dealer had him.
Pretty good. All right. We're going to a game 5.
Yeah, this could be a mirror of the Tom Rich match where I mean, I actually don't think that Tom was like an overwhelming favorite to win game 1 and 2. Although that's what happened. But I did think that Lanny was an overwhelming favorite in this matchup
for 1 and 2. Yeah.
But like that sideboarded games are obviously very different, right? Like this is like not the same.
All right, game 5. Let's do it.
All right, what do we got here? People are very, very excited about Jared's top deck of the Goblin Matrone. But I mean, really, any cheap goblin would have done it, right? I mean, it's first provided it lives through the engineered plague. I don't understand, why would you play 1+0 engineered plagues, but also make room for a different card that costs black and 2 that you would literally never cast and literally never side in?
I have a feeling this is going to come up on the next Spike Colony podcast.
Oh yeah,
for better or for worse.
I don't know, man. Like, people take stuff so seriously. Like, maybe he'll be really sad. I don't want him to be sad.
If he wins, you can bring it up. But if he loses, you might want to wait a little bit.
Oh, no. I don't know what I would do. I don't have a lot of decorum.
Impulse control.
Empathy, any of these things. You know, it's not what I specialized in. You know, like when you were like allocating your points, be like
on your character sheet.
Yeah, like I have like a 3 whiz. Like, it's weird. Like, I have like an 18 int and a 3 whiz. Like, yeah, that's interesting. You know, like everybody's just like, oh, Cha is a dump stat. Nah, put a lot of Cha in, you can get other people to do shit for you. That's pretty good. But yeah, I got none of the other stuff that you might need.
All right. That was a Jared mulligan to 5 in that game. Pretty good.
Yeah. And Lanny drew so many extra cards. That's the other thing. Lanny is, what is he? Mucking his cards like in a casino? What's going on there? Lanny thinking about keeping a hand that doesn't have swords to plowshares? I feel like that's what's happening. He's just like, this hand is
better be
pretty
just
good.
shipping it back right now.
See, it's,
Like-
I can just see like the mental wheels. It's just like, this hand is pretty good. Like there's like maybe like a little angel and just be like, Lanny,
Don't do
Jared
it.
plays Tranquil Domain.
He's
This
like,
hand
technically, he
has-
didn't lead with a lucky last game,
That's
so
This hand has a land tax and an oath. Tranquil Domain. Lanny, Tranquil Domain. I think I'm gonna keep this one. No. Yeah, could happen. That's exactly that's probably happening right now. Like, what if he had his like Plains Oath, land tax, undiscovered paradise? Just like, oh man, you're just setting it all up. One Tranquil Domain spoils all the fun. Why is this taking so? He's really thinking about keeping this non-sword splash in his hand. That's like that's literally what's going on. Okay. All right. He kept his non-sword supply shares hand. Oh no, he didn't. Discipline. Discipline.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have it, you need a mulligan. Yeah, and now Jared decided to mulligan as well.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm just talking about keeping non-sword supply shares hands. That's how you got me in the top 4 of LobsterCon, isn't it? You read me for an idiot who kept a non-sword supply shares hand.
I mean,
Oh
I wouldn't call you an idiot, but I just
mean,
didn't think you had it.
Well, I didn't. You made it 12-12. Then killed me with it.
The rest is history.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lobster. I would have probably lost to Rich anyway. I'll be honest with you. You did our side of the bracket proud. How about that? Rich had like main deck Tormod's Crypt and like Aura of Silence. Yeah, I definitely was gonna lose to him.
That would have been a little rough, man. A little rough. It's like when I lost to Selden this year, I was just like, there's no way I could beat Itai. So great. You know, like I cannot, I won't get a single game against Itai. So I was okay.
I was watching Fran's stream and in his like Argent Knot deck, he put like the David Daniel Selden tech of Phyrexian Furnace in the main deck of Argent Knot. And I'm just like, yo, this is for a completely different blue-white deck, bro. And I was just making fun of him. Like, you won't play Impulse, but you're just going to play this, like, Impulse that only draws 1. And so he's just playing, like, the Champion of Championships finals, whatever, against a Replenish deck. And he just gets the...
I saw.
And he just, like, annihilates him, and he, like, stifles the seal. And I'm like, oh, man. This is just going to teach him to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It lined up so perfectly. It was hilarious.
Yeah, the net result is I'm going to have a Phyrexian Furnace in my stupid deck at the 1.5K. That is the net of what just got described. I'm sure it'll come up in a way that is highly advantageous to me and just never bites me in the butt.
Never punished. All right. So I see a stack of cards in the middle of Lanny's playmat. Or is that just the one he's going to put on the bottom? And Jared's thinking.
I don't know. I mean, Jared won on 5 last round, as you pointed out. So the problem is, like, you can no longer be stingy about Sword Supply Shares hands, I think, after you start mulliganing even a single time. Whereas you can be much stingier from the Goblin side. So
Okay.
I mean, like, Jared, is this game 5 already?
This is game 5.
Wow. Wow, this is like we're gonna complete a 5-game set in the time that it takes to complete like a 1-game set normally. Well, this is gonna be interesting. It looks like a land tax is gonna fire off at least once.
Yep.
Is Jared just sacrificing?
He's just saving time.
All right. Okay, so I think Lanny was just like, "Yo, what's going on, bro?"
Yeah.
I think it's very dangerous for Lanny to replay the Undiscovered Paradise because Jared plays Wasteland.
Yeah.
So I think I would just play Plains and posture that I had Source of Pleasures, even if I didn't have one. How many cards do you have in it? So he started with 6. So 6, and that's
7.
so that's 2, right? So we had 4 back up to 5, 7. He can tax for 3 and still avoid discarding this turn, I think. I'm gonna have to ask Rich at some point. Rich taxes way differently. Well, actually, it just doesn't matter. Maybe I won't ask Rich. He taxes way differently than I do. He like overtaxes a lot and then just like discards mountain or whatever versus like I never do that. And I was thinking about it like while I was watching him play tonight, and I was just like, well, what if somebody said you get a free loot, which is basically what's going on, right? You're like looting away basics that you don't want to draw later. That's pretty good. On the same time, it's not like an entirely free loot, right? Like you have like a finite number of basics that you can search for. So
Yeah.
I think I'd just be a little stingier in terms of potential of drawing a basic versus like the fact that I can just keep taxing further into the future.
Yeah, the crazy thing about the Parfait deck though is 03 sets all of your basics and the 3 blessings as well. Whereas like the old Pink Prison deck, which was just red white, and initially didn't run Gaia's Blessing, and so you had to be very, very, very careful about the number of lands that you use tax for, especially because you ran Devastating Dreams, and so that one was a much harder deck to play in terms of figuring out how much you should tax for every turn. But the Parfait deck has way more decisions than the Pink Prison does more generally, to be fair. But
All right.
you can be greedy with Parfait.
Jared has searched for a forest. So Lanny got the swamp. Leads me to believe he might duress this turn. I think that he left duress in. Duress has a lot of text, as we said in the sideboarded games.
Yes.
Like if Laney's like being, oh, I'm so smart, right? He's just like oaths here or whatever. He could just lose the game on the spot. I don't think he wants that to happen. That pile driver is not that dangerous yet, right? Until he has some buddies. That's just a 1-2. All right, what do we got here? He needs to duress here.
He's thinking about it.
I think if he has a duress, he's going to cast it. Look, there's relatively low downside. And he kept his hand, which leads me to believe it's a source of pleasures anyway. Who knows? Like, don't just like cast a scroll rack, right? Like that's what he did last game. He just got annihilated for doing that. Don't do that.
He's thinking about the mountain here. What's going on?
He's thinking about discarding the mountain. Maybe he's playing Rich Shea Magic. So they're not in the same room, right? They're playing across like the interwebs via webcam. But like, look at how Jared is just intimidating Lanny. Like he's just like putting his like burly arm on the table,
laying it all up in there. Yeah.
Just like, what is it you think you're gonna do, Lanny? Is it bigger than this? Probably not. All right. Lanny plays an Oath of Druids. This could go wrong a lot of different ways.
Tranquil Domain.
Hull Breach. There's a lot of ways this could go bad for Lanny. Let's see which one Jared's got, because he's got something. And it is that just naturalize?
Just naturalize.
Oh man, he's teasing. He's just teasing it. Okay. Land tax. Wait. Okay, yes, he has 2 lands versus 3 lands. Enlightened Tutor. What's going on?
I think it's an upkeep Enlightened Tutor.
Before taxing? Oh, no. He's saying I'm going to tax, and then I'm just going to Enlighten Tutor, so I'll shuffle, just simplifying the sitch. Okay, that makes sense. What do you think he's going to get here? Scroll Rack, Oath of Druids, Engineered. Okay, well, there's the answer to our
he was so keen to play the first one. So here comes round 2.
the whole Enlightened Tutor aspect of the deck is so dodgy to me against this much removal. You're just like going further and further down. And like an individual scroll rack is just negative cards to begin with until you start, getting positive back. So I think you still need to do it. It just feels bad.
Yeah, especially if you only have one Engineered Plague.
I will tell people how to play Magic the Gathering. People don't play Engineered Plague right. I think that's the reason why they don't beat goblins as much as they should. They're just like play Engineered Plague and they're like, oh, this card's pretty good. But like in most of the games that they have Engineered Plague, the goblins deck has Naturalizers or Tranquil Domains or Hull Breaches, some way to interact with it. You really got to play Engineered Plague like it's a bone shredder, right? Like you always got to take something with it and assume that it's going to die. Yes. And if you just play it proactively, you're just asking to give the goblins player time, right?
Yeah.
You have to be much more. That is the thing. Like I'm not super disciplined about keeping opening hands. I'm incredibly disciplined about how I play an Engineered Plague. But otherwise you just give the goblins deck just too. They have so much card advantage. You just can't. You can't let them have it. Okay. Speaking of card advantage, does Jared Doucette have the Tranquil Domain or the Hull Breach or another Naturalize? Another Naturalize would be fine, right? That was already a 2-for-1, right? Like fine. He got the Tutor and the Oath.
The problem is he's not developing his board in terms of pressure. It's just one a turn.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if the Oath fires, there's like a 33% chance Jared loses on the spot, right? Like has 0% chance of beating a Resolve to Chroma.
Oh, right? Here it comes.
So, I mean, he's going to be lucky if it's an Ancestor's Chosen. But at LobsterCon, Lanny sided in such a way against goblins that he couldn't hit the crappy creatures. But he doesn't have enough cards to take out now. He's going to have 3 creatures in his deck. If it's in a Chroma, game has become
the game's over. We left the Mana Leak in, FYI.
He just doesn't have anything.
He brought in Spontaneous Generation.
And
brought in Devastating Dreams.
Is he checking to see if he's triggered
there has been one, yes.
And what?
Oh, he just has the Spontaneous Generation.
Wait, what's going on?
I have no idea.
Did he just sideboard in such a way that he can't win?
He's got Spontaneous Generation in his deck.
No, but he has no creatures?
I guess. But he's got the Oaths.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
This is a mess. This I didn't have this on my bingo card.
No one did. Oh.
Does he have a legal deck? If he doesn't have a legal deck, this actually came up in like almost this same situation came up in some stupid high stakes tournament situation last week, and the ruling is idiotic, and it in this case would favor Lanny. That we actually cut is the presumption that you would present a deck that could correctly operate. Well, he hasn't cast a Burning Wish yet, so he can just count his sideboard to see if he has a legal deck or not. But what is he trying to do?
Is he just trying to see how many cards are in his deck?
I mean,
you would just know based on what's in your sideboard, right?
Well, I don't know. Did he sideboard in such a way that he has no creatures except for... this isn't... I don't understand what's going on here. He just says he sided out the other 2 creatures so that he would always Oath for a Chroma?
And then just didn't put a Chroma in, is my guess.
Well, he's not going to deck here.
Hope you may need to chat with them.
Wow. just did not have this on my bingo card.
No. Oh, okay.
No, he just has to play. But if he doesn't have a 15 card sideboard, the presumption is that his deck is supposed to be able to win. It's a terrible ruling. In my philosophy, you just take a hatchet to the guy with the illegal deck. But that's not how this
It's
generation
60-15.
of
It's 60-15.
then
It's a legal deck.
This deck is legal. Obviously, that changes the likelihood of who's going to win this by a lot. That spontaneous generation is going to have to do some work. Wow. Yeah, wow.
Those are just dead cards. Oh my god.
But everything is... But it also changes like what Jared has to worry about. Like Oath went from being public enemy number 1 to just like a mulligan. It's like, is Lanny just like, I can't believe what I did right now?
Yeah, I think he's just trying not to tilt too hard.
I mean, this is like Jared has a single 1-2 in play. Like this is a winnable situation.
Yeah, it's still winnable. It absolutely is.
Just, in fact, it's like there's a lot of ways you could lock Jared out. Like the Burning Wish Suite, Armageddon, Devastating Dreams. He's taxed multiple times. Like this is very winnable. It's just going to take a lot more work than he probably thought that he was going to have to go through. Because like
he's cast 2 Enlightened Tutors to get Oaths or whatever. Like, oh my god. Or maybe it's just the one, but still like, oh man, poor Lanny. Oh.
I mean, yeah, you could say poor Lanny, but he did it to himself.
I know, but it still sucks, man. Oh.
I think
it's not over.
I don't know who he was trying to outsmart.
In the words of Rocky Balboa, it ain't over till it's over.
Rich thinks that there might just be guys in Lanny's hand.
Could be.
Maybe Lanny is just put on a gigantic show to change the tenor of the game, which actually that might be super exciting. Actually,
he just hard cast Necroma.
Yeah. So I am now I'm now of the opinion that Lanny gave us a little spoonful of theatre. Because there's just no way he sided this bad, right? Maybe he just got unlucky.
I don't know. He's saying in chat, I'm just bad. So, like, if he does have creatures in his hand...
He's tapping 5 mana. Yeah, no, he has guys. Now... Rich was right. Lanny gave us theater. This is real interesting, right? So obviously, Shard Phoenix is a very interesting card to have in play. Like Lanny can clear goblins at will. He also can end the turn with a creature in play. I don't think like Jared's ever going to be in a position where he's just going to Oath because there's a Shard Phoenix in play, though, right? That seems like a poor tactical decision. Dear Internet, the Shard Phoenix is the red card in play. It is hideous. You might not recognize it because it is very ugly. It's in the wrong border, among other things. And it came from Lanny's hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, he didn't sideboard that bad. Although it would be weird that he put so much effort into casting those oaths, right?
Yeah.
Man, this went from like a really like no dead air, volume packed sort of discourse about the game to just like silence now. It's just like nobody's doing anything. I wonder what's going through Jared's head right now, actually. That would be cool if I was just like, is there a little guy on Jared's shoulder being like, is Lanny so bad he doesn't have any creatures in his oath deck? Yeah, I think so. Seems that way. Guy's blessing triggered, though.
I mean, people are talking about like 4D chess and stuff in the chat, but like he did it all in the same turn. It's not like he waited for Jared to, you know, run out a bunch of goblins and then he cast the Shard Phoenix. So I don't understand the theatrics. Like if it was just theatrics, I think he genuinely thought he probably had another creature in his library. You know what I mean?
Well, what's the Hull Breach getting?
Oath and Mox Diamond. Yeah.
Oh, so he does care about the oath still.
Well, yeah, he doesn't want Shard Phoenix to recur every other turn, right? He's going to make Lanny use it and then be done with it.
Tinkerer.
Oh, interesting.
Well, he killed the oath.
Yeah.
Tinkerer is a big game. I think Tinkerer is an underplayed card. I think I should have bought more Tinkerers. I think like it might be right to play like 1+3 Tinkerers even. They seem way better to me than a lot of the cards that people are playing in Goblins to deal with 12/12. And to be fair, like a lot of the Goblins lists are like legacy Goblins lists from the era when you would be dealing with more Mox Diamonds and Skull Rex. But now like the most dangerous artifacts for the most part are like one casting cost 12/12s. And so Tinker like looks a lot better than it did when there was a greater variety of things you might have to deal with. But I think that card is very, very good. And I believe it to be highly underplayed.
You like it more than just an Overload against a Dreadnought deck?
I think Overload's pretty bad. Like I think like the fact that you can just deploy a Tinkerer for free on like turn 2 with an attack versus having to actually resolve a card that might get blue blasted on the stack is they're very different from that perspective.
Tinkerer does have the disadvantage in that it can be stifled, right? So
once,
sure, but sometimes that's all the Dreadnought deck needs.
Yeah, but like,
and it also dies to blue blasts.
Sure, but I think like broadly, I would say like most of the stuff that deals with Tinkerer also deals with Overload, right? Except for like Tinkerer. Yeah, but now like Counterspell, Daze, Foil, like all get turned on, right?
Sure. Sure.
And like it's just a Tinkerer in play deals with multiple Dreadnoughts, right? So like let's say I have a Tinkerer in play and you're just like, all right, Dreadnought, and then you're just like, all right, ting your Dreadnought. You're just like stifle it. I'm like untap ting your Dreadnought again. Like I have to be below 12 before this starts being a reasonable exchange for you.
I do really like putting it into play with Lackey. That's like
it's really good.
That's the dream scenario.
Like the fact that it has haste, oftentimes thanks to War Chief, is a really big game also. So I think Lanny is way ahead here. Although who knows? Like I think it's just like really hard for Jared to assemble a critical mass turn because the Shard Phoenix is in play. As I don't think he has Gem Palm Incinerator in his deck. Right? Like if he had Gem Palm Incinerator in his deck, then he could just like cycle Incinerator end of turn, kill the Shard Phoenix, and then come in for a gigantic lethal attack. But
yeah,
I just don't think it's his deck, so it's gonna be difficult for him to set that up. Like he'd need like 2 Mog Fanatics or something, and like you need an entire turn cycle of setup for that. In which case, like Lanny's doing nothing. Like what's Lanny gonna do here? Just like eat the Tinkerer and take 3?
Yep.
Like, cool.
Jared just needs to like force the issue with the Siege Gang commander and then rebuild afterwards.
Is that a lackey?
As a lackey, yeah.
Like, this situation's like so weird because like Lanny's not going to take any damage he is not willing to take. I wonder. So on the timing rules, if Jared attacks with 2 goblins, Lanny can put the pile driver's ability on the stack, plowshares the goblin lackey, and then just block the spontaneous generation. Let's go.
Wow. There it is. Bring on the Saprolines.
Oh man, I don't know if he has Mike Flores tokens. I think I probably should have stuffed those in the replenish cards box. That was an error on my part, equivalent to Lanny's sideboarding error.
Equally egregious.
Yeah, it's like even worse. BK once said to me he thought the spontaneous generation was the greatest threat in all of the pre-modern format and challenged me to pick a greater threat. I didn't bother to engage in this asinine discourse. Like I don't know, a Phyrexian Dreadnought? Like, how hard is it to think of a more dangerous card than spontaneous?
Phyrexian Devourer.
Yeah, like a forecasting cost sorcery that only does stuff if you have a bunch of cards in your hand. Like, oh yeah, I can't think of anything more dangerous than that. I don't know, a goblin lackey, a meddling mage. What we got here?
All right, we have 7.
I think Lanny's just gonna go on the beatdown.
I 100%.
I think he's just sending this Shard Phoenix this turn, and like Jared just has no good block, right?
Yeah, he's definitely going on the beatdown plan, or at least he should.
So Jared has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands in play. Like, he has literally no clear attack if there's no Jump Home Incinerator in his deck. I guess he could theoretically go for War Chief Goblin Sharpshooter, but I'm not sure that he has Sharpshooter in his deck. Right, those are all the cards that I would side out for the sweet green cards that he has.
Yep.
You just might lose to 1/1s. This game did not go the way.
Why did Jared play his 6th land?
Well, he's trying to clock to set up for a lethal turn, right? And
yeah, but if he's not going to use that extra mountain this turn, like, it's not necessary because now Lanny gets to tax again.
That's a good point. It's worse if Lanny has a swords, right? I think Lanny just swings out, right?
Absolutely.
And I think he swings out and then he sacrifices the shard. Oh, maybe not. I think Jared's actually doing a good job of threatening Lanny's strategy right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said he needs, right? He just needs the Siege Gang to force the issue, right? Like, he can't afford to let Lanny just sit there all smugly with that Shard Phoenix for several turns.
Yeah, swords. He's gonna Swords that. Okay, so Lanny's in a Gigundo advantage then. The 6th land is probably a pretty substantial error then.
He's not going to tax.
He's not. Maybe he doesn't have basics left.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's just not interested in taxing, I guess. 7 basics that we see out there.
We don't know how many basics he has in his hand. Like, I don't get the feeling that Lanny drew very well this game, right? Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He could probably just hard cast a Chroma if it's in his deck.
He's got 8 basics in the deck.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 in play. He probably just doesn't have any in his deck.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the rest of them are in his hand. He can just next turn play a land and hard cast a chroma. If he deals, he's gonna get in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gonna get in for 4 here. That's not that exciting, actually. I think I would just attack with the Shard Phoenix. Right? Like, he just gives Jared optionality if he lets him get any kind of a trade on.
I like that. I like just the Shard Phoenix attack.
Yeah. Right, like he just completely contains the Goblin Pile Driver. I would probably put like a Goblin on every I'm sorry, a Sapperling on every Goblin coming in, and then 2 on the Pile Driver.
Yep.
But I don't even know if Jared attacks. Right, like that cedes a lot of initiative to Lanny if he does that, and he has time. Right, he's on like a 9-turn clock right now.
What is Lanny thinking about? Oh, he's considering it. Yep.
Yeah, but the other thing is we have no idea what's in Lanny's hand, other than he probably has 2 basics in his hand. But other than the 2 basics, we don't know what else he's got.
He could have 1 basic in his hand. There's only 8 in the deck, and we know about 7. There's a Plains in his graveyard.
Okay, so he has a basic, and then I don't know how many other cards. He has 4 total cards. So I'm guessing one of those cards is not an Engineered Plague. Because he would have probably played that.
Guessing probably not. Now would be a good time to play Engineered Plague.
Oh, after the block by the Pile Driver? Yeah, that's a hell of a time to cast it. One.
All right, here comes the cavalry.
It was like a weird attack, right? Like, is he just going to block the Pile Driver? Take the other ones?
Yeah.
Like, that seems like an unnecessary amount of damage to have taken. Post-combat war chief. Oh,
Lackey.
that came from like. I think he's going to hard cast Chroma here. Does he have enough mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, he does not have enough mana. Maybe if he's been sandbagging a Mox. Did Lanny's hand just disappear? Just like a card trick.
Thinking.
The war chief was free on account of being hit by a goblin lackey.
Goblin Lachey. So obviously you're attacking with Phoenix here. You leave the rest back.
How many cards does Jared have?
Looks like 1, maybe 2. There could be 2 cards there, but it looks like 1 from here.
Yeah, I think like Lanny's in a great position if he attacks with Phoenix.
There's no reason to like overstretch the position here or overcommit.
Jared just doesn't have a good attack then. I wonder if like what Lanny's thinking about is just like his tax is pretty anemic right now. Maybe when Jared played the 6th land, he had already figured out that Lanny didn't have anything else to get in his deck.
Yeah, maybe.
Did that rack die? What did that? Is there a rack in the graveyard? Or was that a Mox? Ancestors chosen. Yeah. So what Lanny was, I don't think Lanny has maybe a basic because he played the Undiscovered Paradise to make this Ancestors Chosen in play. Wouldn't you have played the other basic if you were going to do that? Are you just preserving it if he draws a scroll rack?
Yeah, the one.
Because this is like preventing him from hardcasting the Acroma that he obviously has. Pick up your Undiscovered Paradise.
Yeah,
Tell him to
I'll
pick
tell
up his
him.
Undiscovered Paradise.
I will. All right, got it.
What a weird game.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
what's the advantage bar?
it's like I don't know how many cards Jared has. That's the question.
Let's
right?
say it's 1.
Oh, if it's 1, it's like 90% Lanny. Right? Lanny just gained. I guess he just gained like 5 life from the Ancestor Chosen, making it. Yeah, I think it looks like it's 2 cards, making it quite an anemic Ancestor's Chosen. I'm guessing both of the cards in Jared's hands are awesome because he just deployed the War Chief. I don't know what Jared can do because the Phoenix is there, right? Like Jared has no open for like an explosive kill you in 1 turn because
Exactly.
Lanny can just sacrifice the Phoenix and like in fact leave the Ancestors Chosen, which is by itself a 2-turn clock. There's no Siege Gang Commander in play. So I almost am guessing Jared's hand is like green removal cards.
We're about to find out.
Siege
Pile
Gang?
driver, wasteland.
Oh, pile driver.
Yeah, wasteland, and what is that? Just, yeah.
Mountain, wasteland,
Yep.
Joblin, pile driver.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, so coast is clearish, I guess. I mean, do you play the Undiscovered Paradise here knowing that Jared has a wasteland?
Probably not.
But like,
but what else are you going to do with it?
I mean, if Lanny's holding a chroma, he just kills Jared if he hardcasts it next turn. Right? Jared's on 8. So he just like gets in with the Phoenix so as not to give up the goat. But like, I'm assuming he has another land in his hand. I'm just wondering if Jared just kills the Undiscovered Paradise because he reads them for the Acroma. I think the piece of theater was to put Jared off, right? Because Lanny obviously had creatures. Chroma's in his hand, right? There's no way he didn't side in a Chroma. Like I'm telling you right now, there's no way that didn't happen. So I think Jared has to figure out if he's going to use the Wasteland here because the Acroma is lethal. And he had to attack with though attacking with the Phoenix is inconsequential. Oh, good play, Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Phoenix is inconsequential, but he had to attack with it so as to keep Jared off of understanding that there's an Acroma in his hand. We know Jared has a mountain. Yeah, this is I think it's just like 95% Lanny at this point.
The percentage has definitely gone up.
I just don't even know what Jared can do. Forecasting cost Siege Gang Commander. He doesn't have a Skirk Prospector, right? So without a Skirk Prospector, I just don't know what plays he can make. Like, I think Lanny must be holding like Gemstone Mine. Burning Wish. What's he gonna for Armageddon?
Last rights, obviously.
Ooh, interesting. Armageddon. I think that's the ESPN check mark.
Yeah.
Right. So he attack. Isn't it just way better to sacrifice the Phoenix and attack for 4? Oh, yeah, it's lethal. Doesn't matter. Right, sacrifice the Phoenix. End of turn. Attack for.
Yeah.
This is a lethal chosen, but you can't go to your own turn. You have to do it on Jared's turn. Like you might have. I guess there's just next to nothing you could have.
I don't think there's anything Jared could have. He doesn't have mana to even cycle a Gem Palm, even if it's still in his deck.
Yeah. So
I think that would have been a safe play to seal it up.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to do it, but
I guess like an ultra conservative line is attack with Phoenix, say go again, right? Like, but I'm just trying to think of what could possibly go wrong, because like
I'm looking.
Lanny just has a lethal attack here. If like Jared's only out, would it involve Skirk Prospector? I think.
That's game.
Like we thought he was sandbagging planes.
All right.
Sacrifice Phoenix.
Oh, don't shuffle those tokens in, Jared. All right, that's going to do it. Lanny is victorious. Let's unmute the players. I'll message them to unmute us.
There. I was ready to win. Yeah, that was embarrassing.
I'm
that
now
was
thinking
not my
Lanny might have
prowess.
played masterfully instead of like a goober.
So you're unmuted. What did we say we were gonna sideboard?
Are you talking to me?
No. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to myself.
Weren't we gonna bring in
These 4 cards came out.
Yeah, but did you bring in a chroma?
No.
Was it in your hand?
No. What do I need a chroma for? I don't need that card. So I've got a better card, Spontaneous Generation, over here. This is the card that you needed to sideboard in for this matchup. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, Jared. That was very unsportsmanlike to sideboard. Like, just, that's so stupid.
Jared, how'd you board?
Oh, I took out sharpshooters, incinerators, and I didn't think the fanatics were particularly good in this matchup. So I have a lot of good stuff to bring in, right? I have tranquil domains, naturalizes, hull breaches, even Tormod's Crypt is pretty good. So has some abilities. So
did you take out all the Mog fanatics, Jared?
I did actually, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so you brought in like 11 cards
100 cards.
Oh no, I brought in 8. I brought in only two of the crypts, but 2 naturalizes, 2 hull breaches, 2 tranquil domains, and 2 crypts.
Yeah, I thought the all green cards were all awesome.
Yeah, of course. They're sick. Yeah.
Yeah, they're super good.
Yeah.
I had to change to the secret strategy in my deck where I just play things. So these
You were lucky you had 5 mana that turn, because
These 4 came in.
If you didn't cast it, I was ready to roll.
I know you were.
Yeah.
My chroma would have been ready to roll too.
Yes, it would have.
Is that Last Rites? Did you bring in Last Rites?
No, this is Innocent Blood.
Innocent Blood, Duress,
yeah.
Devastating Dreams, and Spontaneous Generation.
So I probably would have left home. What card would I have left home? This card? Probably left home this card. Maybe I should have boarded out one more dumb thing. Like, I was like, I'm boarding out 4 cards. I boarded out the 4 cards. They're super obvious, right? Annul, Seal, Ray, Crypt. Cards that have no text. I keep everything else in because everything else has text. And then for some reason, like, I don't know, Spontaneous Generation was in my deck instead of a Chroma Angel of Wrath.
I thought you were just holding the Achroma, and I didn't understand why you played the Undiscovered Paradise. It was obvious that you had the planes in your hand. So, but it actually makes sense for your Armageddon strategy, right? Because Jared has to play like he's afraid of an Achroma that you accidentally drew, so he has to play it to keep you off of the hard cast, and then that locks him for post Armageddon. That's actually pretty masterful.
I don't even know at this point. I'm pretty sure. I just like wasn't, my head wasn't in, and I just got lucky because Jared's like was short a naturalized basically. If he has he has 8 naturalizes post board. He's like, if he has 2 instead of 1, then I should lose the game anyways. So it was bad. I don't know. I'm embarrassing stuff.
Well, you're on to the finals, where you're probably going to have a land tax mirror match with Rich Shea that'll last 3 hours. So you have that to look forward to.
Jesus Christ. God save us all.
Yeah.
Jared, do you want to do commentary on it?
Fuck no. If they promise not to bring land attacks, I'll do it.
So seriously, guys, I want to know, like, Jared, maybe we can start with you. Like, I know you were kind of waffling back and forth on what deck you might play. What eventually pushed you onto goblins?
It's the deck I'm most familiar with, and it's the one I'm best with, honestly. I think I probably should have just chosen the rock because, well, I don't want to bring the rock in case he brings replenish, but I was pretty sure he was going to bring parfait. You know what I mean? Like I was like 90%, like maybe 80% sure you were going to bring parfait. But I also think I'm pretty comfortable with God. I know the first 2 games are brutal, but my post board, I mean, I'm pushed this to 5 games because I have a great sideboard. So for this matchup, yeah.
Jared's a master for reading
Jared,
it for
did you
parfait.
play?
Yeah.
Did you play 0 Goblin Ringleaders in 5 games?
0. Yeah.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's really what happened. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe Jared's
Also-
deck is maybe Jared boarded them out accidentally.
No, I leave those guys in.
I mean, I've never seen anybody Goblin Ringleader like Jared just said. So
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, I don't remember 4 goblins being flipped over in the 5 games. You just
No,
literally
never.
drew 0 of your best cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, not a single one. So, but yeah, I mean, and all my lackeys got plowed, and still was able to take, games 3 and 4. So that felt pretty good. But especially on a mulligan to 5 in game 3, I think, or 4 was.
Game
I can't
4.
remember.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So, but yeah, I mean,
game 4 I definitely threw. I like tutored for. Or I had the turn I duressed and played double oath. I could have tutored for a Zurin Orb, and then had the double oath. But you know what's funny about the double oath is that it very likely wouldn't have turned over a Chrome Star Phoenix. At which point, I might have thought something is up.
boarded them in
Got
for game
something
5.
about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
And Lanny, obviously, oath, parfait. Like, what did you eventually settle on that one? Was that just play testing? Because you wanted to play land tags?
I just got wrecked over and over again playing replenish against goblins. I probably could have scratched like 50% if I just like played out of my mind and brought the perfect strategy. I think if I played perfect, I would have maybe gotten to 45% win rate. But the game 1s were just so bad, and our analysis, Jared and I talked about this. You play way more game 1s in a BO5 than you do in a BO3. So you play twice as many, in fact.
Whoa. Hold on.
And but also twice as many proportionally. It's more. So in all the spread of BO5 outcomes, 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. You'll play proportionally more game 1s than a 2-0 or 2-1 best of 3. So we tested against goblins a bunch, and then I kind of I talked to some people, and they're like, I think that parfait against replenish is horrendous. But I could maybe talk myself into like duress your opalescence and then haunting echoes all the opalescence out of your deck and then just move on. But I didn't have Zur's weirding, which was the key way that Rich locked out his replenished opponents. So I would be like relying on Burning Wish to do a lot of heavy lifting and whatnot. But yeah, it was we had the read that Jared would pick goblins, but mostly on a familiarity standpoint. I think if we blended all of the win rates, I felt like replenish would be the best pick for Jared, and I knew that Jared was going on vacation, so he would not have all of Labor Day weekend to bone up on his replenish gameplay.
Nope, I was on the beach.
Yeah, and so I figured that the family vacation would benefit me in that regard.
Got it. Jared, you obviously didn't play replenish. I mean, was any part of you considering it, or were you just kind of over it after having played it twice in this series?
No, I wish, was going to consider it, but I'm like, I need to play it a lot more. After Rich took me to school in week 1, I realizing I probably need to, have more of a understand the counterspell, kind of matchups much more. So I was afraid of where I wasn't necessarily afraid of, the parfait with the replenish deck. I was definitely afraid of the Groatog and also his replenish deck, because his replenish deck is just faster because it has the Mox Diamonds. So like that's probably not going to be a good matchup for me. And I have 4 Swords to Plowshares in my main deck that are dead. So I just am not as familiar with the deck, and I was excited to play it. When I started this event 2.5 months ago or whatever, or 3
Mhm.
months ago when we put these deck lists in. So, a lot's changed since then. But I just, probably needed more practice. The Rock would have been a good choice, but again, the matchup that Lanny and I played in week 6, I got crushed in that matchup. So it was a really bad matchup. So if he had played Parfait or Grow Talk, I feel pretty good with that, But there's always every single one of my decks I think had a bad matchup, against a really bad matchup against one of his decks. But I felt like Goblins gave me the best chances overall.
Yeah, every deck had a punish, but Goblins probably looks the best against its punish.
Yes, exactly. Especially post board.
Although I will say that I did not have. I neither have. Jared beat me in the monthly with Replenish versus Grow Talk.
I did.
So I don't have. I have Grow Talk as slightly favored against Replenish, and I actually have the Replenish mirror probably close to 50%. While I can do stuff a little bit faster with my Replenish deck, you're still just drawing 7 cards and trying to race to get the first Parallax wave. So if I just don't, if I have Mox Diamond and no Parallax Tide, Parallax Tide. If I have Mox Diamond and no Parallax Tide or no combo, then it just doesn't matter if I can combo. If I can make, 4 mana on turn 2, that's great, but I need to have the spells to cast it. And then notably, Jared's Replenish deck has Orm's Chant in the sideboard instead of Abeyance. So Orm's Chant will time walk a combo turn, whereas Abeyance can't time walk a combo turn. Considering that, I had the Replenish mirror as even, with even Jared maybe at a slight favorite just because of the Orm's Chance. Yep.
Michael J. Flores, any questions for the participants?
Yeah, I just really post-match just noticed Jared didn't draw Ringleader. That's just the main thing that I noticed.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Probably would have helped out, right? Like in game 4 when he was under Engineered Plague Oath. I was just any goblin wins here, right? He got.
I had a lot of outs. I had a lot of outs in that regard. And I ended up drawing the Demonic Tutor version of it, because of and just then I got my second pile driver, then it was all in. But I had a lot of outs. Any 2 toughness goblin, is probably just fine.
Yeah, wins the game there.
Yeah.
So
I should have just put Zoran Orb to play that upkeep instead of duressing. Well, I drew the duress for the turn, so I should have had the plan from the beginning. It was pretty rough. But yeah, Jared's the Siege Game Commander. What can you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
he's not the Goblin Ringleader, though.
Not the Goblin Ringleader. I'll take the Siege Game Commander. I like that title. But congrats, Lanny. Good luck in the finals.
Thank you, Jared, and always a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Jared, seriously, before you go, strong showing this season, man.
Thank you.
You played really well, really, really well.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, really impressive.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't talk about how solid you were enough.
Oh, I noticed. I took note. I had a little chip on my shoulder from listening on the Spike Colony.
And I think that might have
disregarded for the top 4.
I wrote about your deck this week. So I don't know if I told you, right? So I played in a meetup with Lanny and I defeated him. And that's the best feeling.
Yeah.
And as a result, he didn't play his Replenish deck.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I think the debate that we had when we were talking was about the Wasteland versus Port and Goblins, and I think it's a very good debate. I think there's it's a metagame call, and
if you had Port, I would have just played Replenish,
right.
But I think.
Oh yeah, but the Wastelands are amazing against
the Wastelands
Replenish deck.
So
I actually want to say a lot of people seem to be favoring Port, right, in the debate, and they play Port or 4 Port 1 Wasteland, and they seem to feel very strongly about this. That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they've ever played the Wastelands, right? Your version with Wasteland, I really thought the Wastelands were great over and over again.
They're better against combo. They're better against combo decks that are typically prey on aggressive decks, right?
Well, I was thinking you just have these ability to chain early where you're first turn Lackey go, and then your opponent's just something, and you're 1 mana Mog Fanatic, kill your thing, Wasteland your land, get in with the Lackey, and then game's already over. And
so far ahead.
Versus they would have been able to block or something like that. And it's just so efficient.
Yeah, it's definitely a debate of efficiency versus flexibility, and I think the efficiency and the permanent disruption of Wasteland I've always enjoyed. So, but can always keep looking at it. But
You would have a way
Just-
different sideboard now that Parfait is a non-factor.
oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
Just 2-2 split.
Yeah.
Like I said, add some Mox Diamonds. Doesn't matter. Wasteland Port. Just discard it.
Mox Diamond?
all of
Yeah.
a sudden, Wasteland Port Wasteland -1 land. How about +1 mana? And it adds red and green.
There you go.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
ancient tombs in there.
Lanny's on the Mox Diamond in every deck game plan. If it can draw a card somewhere down the line, put it in.
Rich, this is like an oat milk t-shirt.
What does it say?
It says post milk generation. It's free t-shirt I got from Oatly, so
Oh, okay.
Nice.
had some vegan food for lunch today and needed to rep my vegan gear. It should say spontaneous generation actually.
Oh god. Oh god.
Jared, just all my love. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. I have even more respect for you now. That was a sweat. That was a super great match. I think watching you play goblins, really did demonstrate that you know what the F you're doing. And yeah, I shouldn't have passed you over. I'm not going to pass you over again. You've entered into the pantheon of people that I'm deeply afraid of.
But there we go.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, and you too. Always going to be a good battle when we play, and everyone in this BSS was a good time to play against.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, it's been a good showing. So, yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Well, thanks for playing, Jared. Tough luck. Lanny, congratulations. We'll see you at the finals against Dr. Shea. I guess we can let you all go and turn it back over to old Mike Hoyp if he wants to join us for the send-off. And Flores, thanks for commentating with me. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, have a good night, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, I can bring up the schedule. So we will be doing our finals next week, Monday. We're going to be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. And the format is a best-of-3 match with all 3 decks. So the way it's going to work is the finalists are going to pick a deck. They're going to play a best-of-3 match. Then they will pick another deck and play a best-of-3. And if it's tied at that point, then they will play a third match with the remaining decks with a best-of-3. So up to 9 games of Magic for our finals. We did see the full 10 games available tonight, so I don't know if that's a foreshadowing that we're going to just get the maximum amount of Magic next week. But so all the decks are available, and we could see all the decks next week on Monday. I don't have much to add, but yeah, that was definitely a real interesting matchup. And yeah, when things didn't quite go exactly as planned, then those are kind of the best games of Magic. I'll say is like you expect things to go a certain way, but when your deck plays out differently, I think those are when players really get to shine, and you get to really see how people figure out things in tough situations. So, do you want to add anything, Flint, or are you ready to wrap things up?
I will just say as usual, thanks again everybody for tuning in and watching. Glad we could provide the maximum amount of Premodern Magic the Gathering for you this evening as possible. I thought the matches were interesting as well, and thanks to the players, and congrats to the winners. Tough luck to the losers, but I think everyone participating in this series has been awesome, and the play has been very competitive and very tight, and just a pleasure to watch for the nights that I've been here. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the finals.
All right. I'll send this over to our end slide. Want to thank everybody who was able to tune in live, and thank you all for all the subs and the follows. Thank you everybody for chatting and hanging out with us. We are having a lot of fun, and hopefully we will see you for the finals. But until next time, take care.
Night, everybody.